You are with the Urban Debate. I'm Seher Zama, and we are continuing with our focus tonight on yet another man-made disaster, an accident, an unfair loss of innocent lives because our authorities just don't care. Our governments don't care. This is not just about the Delhi fire tragedy. We are looking at the larger picture of our buildings in all of our big cities increasingly becoming death traps. An increasing number of cases across metros, which we have reported time and again, and which have exposed a glaring lapse by the authorities, be it the concerned municipality, be it the fire department or the state government.
On the Urban Debate.
4:30 बजे करीब ये हादसा हुआ। हाँ, तो मैं बाथरूम नहाने जाए मतलब ब्रश कर रहा था, अचानक बिजली चली गई। बिजली चलने के बाद मैं बाहर आया तो बाहर जोर से आवाज आ रही, मेरे साले की आवाज, जब चिल्ला रहा था वो, उसको श्वास लेने में तकलीफ हो रही थी, बहुत जोर से चिल्ला रहा था।
This is the hotel where the incident had happened at around 4 a.m. When the people were sleeping. When they got to know that there is a fire, they wanted to come outside, but there was a blockage because there were the fire exit was shut.
17 innocent lives claimed by a massive fire. Minutes after the incident in Arpit Hotel in Karol Bagh, Delhi, it was clear how blatant violations of the law led to the tragedy. Today, unsuspecting citizens fell victim to the fire in Delhi. Across India, every other day, fire due to negligence expose how little our authorities care for us. On February 7th, a fire broke out in Noida's Metro Hospital. A probe revealed the hospital was operating without the mandatory occupancy certificate and fire safety clearance. A fire at Mumbai's commercial hub Kamla Mills compound claimed 14 lives in December 2017. Once again, the tragedy exposed how the restaurant was running right under the nose of the civic authorities without any proper clearances. A year later, a major fire broke out in a 5-story ESIC hospital in Mumbai, leaving 8 dead and over 140 people injured. And the probe revealed the hospital building was functioning despite several safety violations. The fire that erupted on the 12th floor of Mumbai's Crystal Tower left 4 dead and 14 people injured. Here as well, the building didn't have the necessary clearances. In fact, across the nation, buildings and establishments working without necessary clearances have become commonplace. Across India, every day, lives are lost due to our ignorant netas. Mirror now asks, are our cities fire death traps? Let's debate.
Let's throw this open to our panelists tonight. We have Tina Sharma, spokesperson of the BJP, Pratap Kargopekar, former Chief Fire Officer of the Mumbai Fire Brigade, Santosh Kumar, who's the Professor of Governance and Public Policy, which is part of the National Institute of Disaster Management, Dr. Sujay Kantewala, he's a senior lawyer, Balan Mani, who is the Vice President of the Delhi Hotel and Restaurant Owners Association, Ravi Srivastava, founding member of the Aam Aadmi Party, and Kavita Ashok, activist. My first question here to Sujay Kantewala, because he's played a major role as far as booking the culprits with respect to another big fire that we'd seen, the Kamla Mills fire tragedy in Mumbai. Sujay, we'd seen some quick action by the authorities, not just in Mumbai, but in several areas in Delhi here as well that we'd witnessed. Have you seen, have you noticed, because we're now looking at the larger picture on what respective authorities are doing across cities. Following the Kamla Mills fire, which was a huge jolt and a wake-up call, in the months following that, have you seen long-term corrective measures on ground?
No, sadly, Mumbaikars, and I speak for all the Mumbaikars here, we have not seen on the ground any real perceptible change because the mindset has not changed. You see, the mindset of corrupt officials in the BMC will always remain the same. It's a quick buck earning kind of job, and therefore they ask for plum postings in different wards. Now, recently we came across an BMC officer who tipped off restaurants actually in that ONGC lane at Bandra that look, there are going to be raids, there are going to be checks, and if your inside people are caught repeatedly and thereafter suspended, that you are informing the people that there is going to be a raid. This is tragic. In Kamla Mills, so many officials were suspended. In fact, the BMC commissioner himself has given a report indicting his own officials. There have been thereafter SOPs in place. What should be the checks and balances even post giving the plans, post construction? Is it being followed? Thereafter, the Sawant committee heavily came down on the officials. But the problem was those people who were arrested, they were released on bail after almost a year. But as far as the officers are concerned, they will face some kind of an internal departmental inquiry and they'll come back on the job. They'll get reinstated. You have to actually see to it that punishment is meted out on these people, these criminals, who in nexus with restaurateurs or builders get plans passed and thereafter they convert open spaces. That is what happened in Kamla Mills. That the open space, that whole terrace was converted into a restaurant illegally. There were 2 restaurants running over there and there was an illegal bathroom over there into which sadly the people ran inside and they died because of the smoke. Now, so therefore we are seeing this again and again because human life has become so cheap.
Again and again, absolutely, Sujoy, you said it. Again and again, there is a striking, stunning similarity to the Kamla Mills fire to what we've seen play out in Delhi today. My next question to Balan Mani, who's the Vice President of the Delhi Hotel and Restaurant Owners Association. This is a nexus which has been operating, which has been flouting norms, violating several rules, buying up licenses. And through the day, you've been maintaining that there have been no violations. How is that?
Ma'am, the first thing is this, that we are all licensed hotels and we are a budget hotel with license and we have license from the health department, from the fire department and from the police. Then we can run. Otherwise, there is a law in 112/51 that an owner can be arrested for running a hotel without a license. So I am sorry that people don't know the main knowledge about it, how we are operating and how we are doing this business. And the second thing is this Karol Bagh is as the master plan 2021, it has been declared as this special area. In this special area, the status quo has been maintained. And the hotel which caught fire, I'm very sad what happened. It's a very tragedy. The families, I'm very, very, very sad what happened. But this was a 35 to 40 years old building. And that times there was no rule for this building, how far it should go. But after that, what happened? There is in 2021, when Mr. Ajay Makan brought this master plan, that it was that beyond 50 meters with the parking, you should go beyond that.
No, but what you're saying explains nothing. Our reporters have found out how NOCs were taken. This was a hotel which was getting in NOCs as a guest house, but it was operating as a hotel, providing hotel services. It did not have an NOC for a hotel. Not just our correspondents. The Delhi police in its press conference this evening at 8 p.m. has said that preliminary investigations have shown that there are violations. You are in absolute denial. You're looking away, and that's not going to help the situation.
No, it's not that. Actually, it's not only here. Delhi, you see the 5-star hotel during some 20 years back at Vasant Continental, there was a fire. And they had all the norms. And this can happen anywhere. In countries like Canada, Australia, and in England also, you see such tragedies. But when
that is the excuse. That is the excuse that is always given in case of a fire. That there is a spark, there is a panic, this can happen anywhere. And that is why we are dealing with so many fire accidents on a daily basis across the country. It's not valid. Yes, absolutely. This is not a valid argument saying a fire can happen anywhere. There have been norms, rules, regulations that have been violated. Mr. Ravi Srivastav, please step in at this point.
Madam, always the fire there.
Yeah, Sahar, first of all, I am particularly very saddened because the company I used to work for, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation, my two ex-colleagues have died in this unfortunate fire. And those people were just attending a Petrotech conference in Delhi and they were there for a couple of days. The point is, though I am an AAP founder, but I feel that it is not alone the fault of the fire service or anybody. There were so many glaring things happening. The permission was only up to 4th floor. The 5th floor was illegally constructed and there was a restaurant operating and a bar operating over there. The fire brigade could not reach on the site because police had put up a barricade over there and it got delayed by 15-20 minutes. And in such fire, 15-20 minutes are enough. The number of lives will be lost. There were only one exit which was narrow. There were wooden...
No, Mr. Ravi Srivastav, I'm not going to have you sound like an apologist of AAP here.
Allow people to come out.
Why, if you could explain
No,
the fire
I'm not,
department which
I'm
comes
just,
under the
allow
AAP
me.
Delhi government, why did the fire department give the NOCs, provide the NOCs in the second
Sahar,
stage? On what basis?
Sahar, I'm not apologist for Aam Aadmi Party. The fact is, the Delhi Fire Service is understaffed to the extent of 42%. And the Delhi government is fighting hard with the LG for getting up those vacancies filled up in the health department, in the fire department, in the education department, everywhere. But that does not absolve Aam Aadmi Party. This is what I am saying. Why I am saying so? The number of fires, the number of incidents which have taken place in last 3 or 4 years in Delhi, they cannot go away with this excuse. They have to find out the ways and means. The inspection should be carried out. What Sujay rightly said it. These are hotel owners, builders, they are all hand in gloves. They obtain licenses by paying the bribe, underhand money everywhere. Even the police does it. The police allows it for this kind of clandestine activity. MCD official, who is the ward officer? The ward officer should have been suspended by this time. The person responsible for this kind of an event. The MCD is squarely responsible. That's why they were keeping their eyes closed and why they did not see to it that what kind of violations are taking place in the particular hotel. Karol Bagh is a mouse trap. I am telling you.
No, but where does this leave the people? Where does this leave citizens? Because no one's listening. You're sitting here taking the higher moral ground, saying everyone's part of the nexus here, part of this crony club, part of this should be called a criminal nexus because you're dealing with the lives of people. You're calling them in, inviting them as guests in your hotel, in your guest house, charging them for the service and jeopardizing. You're jeopardizing their lives. Kavita, Ashok, if you could step in on this. This is hugely not just disappointing. This is a tragedy that we're dealing with. A death toll of 17. It's one of the highest in a fire accident that we've seen in the recent past with 35 injured. And we are in the same boat. Caught between this nexus of the municipality, the fire department, the state government. Where does this leave us?
I think we citizens are in a very bad shape. Lately for the last few years that we've seen that such incidents have been recurrent. Every year we see something like this happening. And then I feel that, if the government says we are going to give 5 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees to the kin, it's really a very dissatisfying kind of an explanation to such a tragedy. If somebody is losing a parent, a child, how can you say I pay you 5 lakhs? I mean, are you trying to do mallam to the whole episode? I think it's really disrespectful. Secondly, I think I want to mention there are two major things which the citizens now demand because we have voted to the both governments, whether it is the BJP or the Delhi government, as in this case, with a lot of confidence, with a lot of hope that we will be safe. So safety is at stake. Every citizen, I think, now feel really scared. Like I would feel scared. You would feel scared to step into a picture hall, a movie theater, a restaurant, over a bridge, inside a mall, because we don't know what is happening. What kind of quality control was happening when the building was made? What are the safety measures? I mean, really, I think we citizens are totally in the dark. We need to be shown some light. Who's taking care of the confidence that we gave you? The political parties, who's going to answer when we are losing people from our families? How is the government answering us just by saying we'll give you 5 lakh rupees? Sorry, we don't want. I think it's the time citizens should step in with a big voice. I'm not saying let's all do a lot of
Absolutely. We're
don't-
not concerned about the compensation or the multiple
Absolutely.
condolence messages here that have been given out by political parties. Tina Sharma, spokesperson of the BJP, if you could throw some light on the MCD violations. MCD in Delhi, of course, continues to remain under the BJP. What has the MCD been doing on this?
I think we've already set up an inquiry on this, and I think let's wait for the inquiry. And I am not just saying this, sitting here just to, escape the issue which you've asked me. But then I must say that there's a fire safety department violation because I'm a RTI expert otherwise, and I also do public interest litigations. I've understood one case in my recent, RTIs that there's one hotel was running without the fire NOC and there was some issue. So I've understood that when you have, I'm just, trying to give my information here, which is with me. If you have certain infra which is not approved on the papers, then fire safety department should not give you NOC. So I am not, I am not here to have a
All
blame
right, so if
game,
the fire
as a
safety
BJP
department there
spokesperson,
made
but
an
then
error
I really
or looked
sympathize with the
away
system
or
and
didn't care at all, why did the
Should not
MCD
give.
go ahead and give the other licenses then? Why did the MCD not cross-check?
No, license. I must tell you, no, it's only for the. Let me finish, please. It's only for the, permanent construction, which is being given by the MCD. There's no other license, comes from MCD otherwise. And it's only for the permanent structure. If you have a temporary structure, which was fifth, rooftop, where they were running a bar and they had other things, installed
Who
to
gives
run
the
a
license
bar.
to the bar and restaurant?
No, that's not right. No, that's not right.
No,
There were
sir.
3 kitchens
Allow me.
operating here
let
for
me-
which
let
there
me
were
please- let me
illegal
please finish.
kitchens which were
Let
not
me please-
cross-checked. This was
No,
part of the
don't
permanent
Who gives the
structure.
license for the
Don't
bar and
manipulate.
No,
restaurant?
what's the
Please
point in
let
having
me
you
come
complete
up.
your point
You
when
can-
you've just gone down to a blame
No,
game?
you can take
No, you are continuing to blame,
Yeah.
Tina, you are continuing to blame the fire department
I
because
am
you know
not
very well
getting
the
into
fire
blame.
department
No,
is
no,
under the Delhi
If you
government, so
have
you're
a
slamming
restaurant-
only. You are very pointedly only slamming the fire department here in this. We are well versed with the process. If the fire department erred, why did the MCD go ahead and provide the license on the second step?
No, license you can have, but later you can build something on the fifth floor. And fire department checks should be done every 6 months. That's there on papers.
who will give
If
the
you see
permission for
fire
building?
department circulars, every
who will
3
give the
months or
permission
6
for
months,
building
there's
extra
a
floor,
fire.
ma'am?
Extra floor is not, it's a temporary construction. I have seen myself. I visited myself, which I got to know there on the ground.
Sujoy, if you can step in on this.
When you
Who
take
allowed it?
licenses for
MCD
Sujoy,
what?
understanding the
MCD
process
what?
and this is why
MCD what?
we will have to get into the
MCD has
details
not
of this
done.
complicated
Let's wait for the
process here
inquiry.
because this
MCD
is how
hasn't
the
allowed.
authorities try to
Do you want me to
hoodwink the
finish?
people
Do you want me to
in
finish?
blame games.
Sir,
Not
do you
just a
want me to
political
finish?
blame game, but blame
MCD
game
see,
between
your-
different
whatever
departments here as well.
licenses you're
Sujoy,
seeking from MCD,
to not just hold the fire department responsible,
Not
to
at
equally
all.
hold the
I
municipality, the local MCD
No,
here
no,
in
I-
this case, or the
no, no,
BMC that you'd seen in the Kamla Mills, for being issuing these licenses and certificates one after the other without cross-checking the basis of the previous license, without cross-checking the current construction.
Yeah, the question is for me?
Yes, Sujoy.
Yeah, what is happening is that when a license is applied for, there are certain rules and regulations which have to be followed. If you are serving alcohol, then there is another excise license which we have over here. The difficulty comes that once the license is given, there is a particular online kind of filing. There is no post check. Now there has to be a check twice a year, mandatory check. And then the excuse is given that we just don't have too many people. And here we have a gentleman representing the Delhi Hotels Association saying that no, that building was 40 years old, so at that time the rule was different. And now if there is a fire in 2019, well, if you see the buildings which are made now, they are all compliant. But because you are a guest who was unfortunate to have stayed in a hotel which was 40 years old and you didn't check whether it was 40-year-old and what were the rules that they followed, sorry, I can't help it. Is this the way you are supposed to answer? Is this the way you are supposed to pay lip service to tragedies? So this is the problem, sir, that we are facing. The mindset is not changing. There is no responsibility. There is no accountability. अरे भाई मेरे घर से कोई नहीं मर गया, somebody else has died, I will give some kind of a flip-flop on national TV and try to go away with it. That should not happen. That should not be allowed. We as citizens must get together and see to it that all these culprits are punished.
But the bar was running only in the ground floor. It was not running in the top floor. They had a special license for the bar and it was running in the ground floor. They had a restaurant in the ground floor.
Is it the fault of the patrons? Is it the fault of the guests who went to the bar open?
In the bar, in the basement, which was given a license as a conference hall, had illegal kitchens running there. Mr. Balamani, you sitting and showing ignorance here is only going to expose yourself. Mr. Pratap Karvikar, we haven't got a review here from Mr. Pratap, who is a former chief officer of the Mumbai Fire Brigade. Mr. Pratap, this is a menace. This is a menace that the people across cities are plagued with. Let's focus in with your expertise with respect to shortcomings in the fire department. NOCs that are given by the fire department without keeping a check on ground, on the structure, or what has followed after the license is given?
Sir, there are two things which are to be understood. First of all, if you are going to renew a license after 3 years, 3 years is in a big period. Let me tell you very clearly, because anything can happen, whether additional alteration will not be brought to the notice of the fire services. It will be only come to notice after 3rd year. Exactly. When the license expires. Again, there is a provision that you should be renewed 6 months prior to. But there are so many cases which are not happening. You know, last moment these people go to be particularly fire service people and get the license renewed. Now, this is one area I think we'll have to take a leaf from the recent 2006 Maharashtra Fire Service Act, right? Maharashtra Fire Prevention and Life Safety Measures, which says that a particular vendor, licensed vendor, has to give another B certificate saying that all the firefighting measures are in place and in working conditions. Now, this is required to be done because the 3 years period is too much. So, now another important point in this case is, as far as the legal things are concerned, the codes are concerned. Now, the definition of basically guest house is very clear that you don't have 30 rooms and above, really speaking. It only say that 15 rooms and 30 rooms right. Under residence A1. Now, whether this particular falls in A1 or this falls in A5, which is in a hotel, whether it is 3-star hotel or below part. So, the definition of an hotel and a guest house
Pradeep, what has happened in this case here is,
and very important is
this particular hotel in Delhi. Since you're bringing up that difference between a guest house and a hotel, this hotel in Delhi had an NOC for a guest house, but for all means and purposes, it was operating as a full-fledged hotel. It did not have that NOC from the fire department as a hotel. It had it as a guest house. Now, who's to cross-check this? Isn't it for the fire department to cross-check?
Yes, certainly. It has to be. The first thing is, if it is exceed 30 rooms and above, then the whole composition changes. This is point one. Point two is, when there were 30, if you see the rooms status part and against the particular occupancy. Occupancy is something which is fire load. Fire load plus fire people staying in it. So, it exceeds more than that what is required, because the exit routes are directly related with the particular occupant load. Now, this is not happening because it was under the particular
Mr. Balan Mani, would you like to come in at this point and tell us, in your view, since you hold the position of being in the Delhi Hotel and Restaurant Owners Association here, in your view, Hotel Arpit, was it a guest house or was it a hotel?
All these guest houses in Karol Bagh are guest houses. It is not hotels. But in the master plan 2021, it was previously 15 rooms. Now it has been gone to indefinite rooms for the guest houses.
And it is still operating on an NOC as a guest house.
No,
you are admitting that it has been upgraded to a hotel, but it is still operating under the NOC of a guest house. And you say that there is no violation.
Yes, madam, I told you all these are guest houses.
How can it write as a hotel, Arpit? How can it write as a hotel, Arpit?
Sir, in Delhi, mostly major there are guest houses and all are learning the name of hotel. It is actually style.
Okay.
It's not name.
All right,
name
irrespective of the name here,
how we are operating.
irrespective of the name, Mr. Balan Mani, you are admitting that they are all hotels, they have been upgraded, but they have been operating with the NOC of a guest house.
No.
That in itself is a huge lapse.
Sir, I would like to highlight one important point in this case.
We are
Yes, Mr. Pradeep. Mr. Pratap.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
See, the point over here is whether the guest house has got a lodging boarding license or so. If suppose lodging and boarding is being catered to all the guest part, right? Then the question is we have to have a license for cooking part. A kitchen, to start a kitchen specifically on a LPG, it requires another license from the local fire service.
Right.
Whether they were obtained
that is why it has been established that there were 3 illegal kitchens and the fire spread because of the presence of LPG cylinders, and which is why the death toll is also high. You had far many people living in a restricted area which is meant for limited occupancy of a guest house, but instead, in wanting to maximize profits, operating as a hotel.
Another point which comes over to this thing is why, so because it is low-rise building or whether it is below 15 meters, our code is silent on it, really speaking point of view. No fire safety requirement except extinguishers are required to be provided. The point comes over here is when their fire load is very high, occupant is very high, and then unauthorized construction going on or it has been used, I think so fire authority should have taken notice of this, because when you renew a license after 3 years part, I think these issues come into fore and you have to meticulously see that whether the life safety is achieved. That is missing in this case.
Yeah, but there is the meticulous process is just not there.
Yeah, it appears to be looking
very
at this
clearly
tragedy.
the word missing as far as workings of our authority is concerned. It seems that these NOCs and these licenses are given absolutely blindly, with not a care in the world about the people.
I would like to add in
would you like to step in at this point? In what we have what we have exposed and established here, including what the Delhi police has confirmed, that there have been a number of violations here, because some people on the panel would not just agree with what our experienced reporters have found on ground. It is absolutely close to what the Delhi police has concluded in preliminary investigations here tonight, that there have been violations which are further being scrutinized. And what is it for the people here? Each given time, has it now become entirely our duty? Whenever we step into a hotel or a shopping mall or even our residential complexes here, which are not taking into account expiry of NOCs and certificates.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is more of becoming like a national threat for everybody. All the Aam Janta is not concerned about whatever these people are talking on the panel. I'm sorry to differ, and sound rude, but I don't want to sound rude. But this is truth, because the truth is that Aam Janta is not concerned kiski galti thi aur kaun bhar raha. You see somebody's mistake, but poor families are going to suffer throughout lives. Secondly, how can the government compensate the loss of a life? Let us remember that human life is the topmost priority in any family and for anybody. Please stop giving us compensation for lost people in our family. We are not going to, feel very grateful and show gratitude to all this kind of a nonsensical small gestures on behalf of the governments. I think it's time the citizens have to step in. We need voice. We need to ask the government that whatever we have shown confidence in you, please show us results now. It's high time. We cannot keep on losing more people like this. And secondly, kindly revise and do a check on all the hotels, residentials, and maybe you can even do on malls and picture halls, because I am myself not willing to step into a public place. What I'm saying is I'm not willing to step into a public place because I feel not secure anymore. I don't feel secure anymore in this country.
Sujoy, what do you think should be the next step here? Because the police is, of course, investigating this, having handed over the case to the crime branch now as well, because you have MCD authorities, role of the MCD authorities, the fire department that needs to be scrutinized, and also the hotel association, the representative of whom is sitting here with us in absolute denial here. What, in your view, Sujoy, I beg your pardon, should be the next step?
Well, since the police is already investigating and it has found out that there are serious cognizable offences which have taken place, the police has to round up and arrest immediately persons who are even remotely connected to this whole thing. The whole difficulty over years is that there is a whole well-oiled machinery full of touts and agents who are floating all over the place, who will give you all moon, the stars, and they'll promise you everything. There are a lot of documents which are forged.
But Sujoy, what happens with an arrest?
So now,
because
apart from doing
at the most they're booked under culpable homicide, not amounting to murder, and they would be out on bail. Should they be booked under a far more stringent section of the IPC then?
No, why? 302, in this case, it will not be culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. According to me, the police should register FIR under 302. This is murder, outright murder. And therefore, there should be a fast track court that is to be appointed, dedicated judge. And all of these people should be convicted after following the due process. Only if this happens and a signal is sent, then all these criminals in future who are going to commit such offences or are hiding and scurrying away under fake licenses, they will get scared and they will try to follow up with the law. So we have to set examples. We have to cleanse this gutter. That is what we have to do.
Right. Tina, I'm going to be coming to you in just a bit here. Let's also take in one of our viewers calling in, Mr. Dharmendra from Mumbai. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. I have got a suggestion here.
Can I just come in and say something on this, please?
Hello.
Let's just listen to our viewer. Mr. Dharmendra, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I have got a suggestion here. Since we are talking about the legality that will be taken care. My simple point is, when I take a flight, whether it is a half-an-hour flight, 15-minute flight, or 1-hour flight, right? I have been given instruction by the crew on the safety parameters. If I take the similar example to the restaurant or a hotel or any resident guest house, why don't they, when I enter to a restaurant, while they are offering me a menu, why are not they telling me that this is the safety route if at all there is any emergency? Point number one. Point number two, this gives a chance to the customer to know that there is a route available. Right now, the exit in many of the cases we don't even know where is the exit route. So
and this is a very valid point that you've raised, Mr. Dharmendra. We appreciate you calling us in here, and what of our viewers have pointed out here. It's not just important. Every hotel is legally bound. They are legally supposed to inform their guests with respect to fire safety norms, with respect to emergency exit routes, which really doesn't happen. Yes, Tina, you wanted to come in. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Seher, I was just trying to bring some points here. Recently I filed RTI in school fire safety violations and, matters. And I realized that, most of these schools doesn't have fire safety NOC, and they have been given 3 months time to rectify the errors and come back to fire safety department and file again for NOC. So I think these things should be taken in, consideration, whereas your school kids, I mean, you've left school, you've dropped school from your agenda, but I must bring that these innocent children are there in the school, and if you give 3 months time, if you go and check today and find some,
but Ms. Tina Sharma, what did you do after you found out about this in the RTI?
Again. So,
because this is once again an active participation of the MCD. What did you do after you had this information?
No. It's for fire safety department. If they bring stringent rules for not leaving any school without fire safety, then it's a foolproof system.
No,
if you've been giving them time for 3 months again, 3 months again, 3 months again, then it doesn't bring any. We have fire safety expert here on the panel. I think we should.
Okay, so it's only the fire safety which is the culprit here. Mr. Ravi Srivastava, please step in.
Time to the establishments is not enough.
Mr. Ravi Srivastava, please step in here. According to Tina, it's just the fire safety, not the MCD, because the MCD is under BJP. And the fire safety department is under the AAP Delhi government.
No,
you can very clearly mark your political lines in this argument here.
I'm not blaming them, but then they have got a major role to play. Sahar, this is MCD which passes all the maps, all the alterations, all the civil work. Everything is authorized by the municipality only. Nobody else does it.
I am not fighting with you here, please. What did you do in Bhavana case? What did you do in Bhavana case? Please tell me. Where is the report?
You don't fight with me.
Where is the report?
You don't fight with me. You fight with your ward officer who has taken money and allowed these modifications.
How many days it
Please don't fight with me. You fight your... you fight with your corrupt. You fight with your corrupt Delhi police people. What report have they given for last 5 or 6 investigations? Do you have the reports with you?
All right,
giving you a good suggestion.
The BJP.
I am giving you a good suggestion that please
Mr. Ravi Srivastava, answer this
course correction in your fire department.
Mr. Ravi Srivastava, the Delhi minister, Mr. Satyendra Jain, has asked for a quick check with respect to violations in the given vicinity where the fire has taken place. What is being done in the past 4 years? Today they were to mark a grand 4th anniversary celebration in government. What have they been doing for the past 4 years?
What action have they taken?
You cancel a 4th anniversary celebration concert is not going to provide that healing balm to the victims of the fire today. What has the fire department and the Delhi government been doing in the past 4 years?
This is the minimum. The minimum the Delhi government should do was that they did it. My question is that already more than 6 or 7 incidents of
fire. No, but we are looking at the maximum because we gave them the maximum votes.
6 years. Where are those reports? And what action has been taken on the culprits? What have they done on that? There have been inquiries. There have been.
Mr. Ravi Srivastava, what has the AAP government done in the past 4 years, please?
What action have they taken on that?
What has the fire department or the Delhi government done in the past 4 years? You did some quick checks after the Kamla Mills fire. What after that? Why was Karol Bagh left out?
Inquiry is done by Delhi police. That's what I'm saying.
I am telling you, NOC is given by the fire department. Do you not agree with that?
Does not report to Delhi government. NOC is done by the fire department.
No, this is shameful, Mr. Srivastava.
But NOC...
Absolutely shameful, Tina Sharma and Mr. Ravi Srivastava. For you, the culprit is the other authority which is not under your political party.
They are not allowing that. The LG is acting as a stooge only of the central government. They are not allowing the manpower for that. They are not able to do their work properly, and that is why it has happened. But at least
no, then the Delhi Chief Minister should resign. If the Delhi Chief Minister is in such a helpless position all the time, why doesn't the Delhi Chief Minister resign? This is not what he said when he asked for our votes.
Madam, they are
why Why your NG
Mr.
should not
Santosh
resign?
Kumar, who's the professor in the
For
National
holding the hands of
Institute
the Aam
of
Aadmi
Disaster
Party in
Management.
Delhi.
Let's
Why
get
your
in a
NG
word
should
here
not
from
resign?
Mr. Santosh
Why your
Kumar.
PM
Mr.
should not
Santosh
resign?
Kumar, you've joined in the debate a bit late, but this has unfortunately fallen into a political blame game and into a blame game of respective authorities. We're asking the question here for us as people living in these cities. They're increasingly becoming death traps, fire traps for us. What should we do as the people?
Yes, I will give you a very personal and also professional view on this. And I will try to make apolitical comments. This is very, very important to look at that first I would consider this entire safety should be the habit of the citizen in the country, and which is the biggest casualty which is happening in the country. And we don't actually take safety measures as a real concern. When proactively we do not take kind of a ex-ante measures, pre-disaster measures to actually identify the hotspots and start working for reducing the risk. What happens in the post-disaster scenario, when disaster happens, we become very reactive. It is visible, and that is why we become as a kind of a champion of addressing this issue. Entirely, I would suggest that how we are actually looking at the situation in terms of proactively. Like, I will give you one short example. 1994, the Dove Valley fire happened and 300 children died in the school. And after that, 2004, Kumbakonam fire, another killed 94 school children. Can we say that in 2018 and 19, that entire schools of the country, despite the Supreme Court ruling, have been made a safety audit, and it has been made as per in order proactively? Then this is the question that why we have been able to compromise despite the Supreme Court orders. We are not taking cognizance of these recommendations made by different agencies. Number one, proactively. Secondly, that when we are talking about hotel or the hospital, or we are talking about for the malls, many of the panelists, they are raising these issues that probably we don't feel safe.
Or schools.
So this is the time to look at that how as a citizen, or schools, anywhere, as a parents, whether we are asking a school administration this question in the parent and teacher meeting association, that whether our children are safe in the school and what kind of a safety measures they have taken to make our children safer. Similarly, when we are sending our patients to the hospitals and going for the treatment, are we asking these questions to the management? We are just paying fees and fees and fees. The question is how we are going to address this issue proactively, ex ante. Rest of the things is the post-mortem. What happened, Upahar Tragedy Cinema Hall, and then whether the PBR of all the countries, I'm not saying in Delhi alone, where the government has a complete mandate or the people have a complete mandate to make
so
themselves
we're looking
safer.
at about 25, 30 years after the Upahar tragedy and nothing's changed. We're still in the same boat. So, Mr. Santosh Kumar, are you saying that this can only work out through citizens' activism? Each one of us just become activists. Mr. Santosh Kumar, it's just about citizens' activism now. Don't trust the authority, don't trust the fire department, don't trust the government.
Yeah. You know, can I come in here, please? I'd like to say something.
No. What I'm saying, collectively, what I'm saying is a collective responsibility. Everyone has to participate, identification of hotspots and reducing those risks. That is the first citizen's responsibility. And then we are also putting that under the government with the agencies which have been made to this, that these are the areas to be taken care of. And that probably help in taking proactive measures. Similarly, as we are saying that as a school...
Kavita Ashok, would you agree with that? Our collective responsibility is to vote a responsible government in power. But now it seems each one of us will just have to become activists taking care of our own safety and rights.
Everybody, okay? I am a representative of the people.
Should become the activist.
Let me answer this question.
I know what I'm saying.
It does take activism to fix this problem, it seems. There is no collective responsibility of the authorities. Kavita, yes, please complete your point.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that everybody cannot jump and become activists. Do not think that activists will rule the country. Why have we a proper government? Why do we have state governments? Why do we have a central government? We educated and uneducated people of India together have voted and shown confidence in the people of the political parties. Now, don't pass this blame on us.
Right.
Tell me if I'm going for, sir, I want to ask you a question. If I'm going to see a movie, how am I
No, no,
responsible अगर
I'll
वहाँ
just
आग लग जाती है तो? अगर
I'll
वहाँ
just
आग
give you
लग
one
जाती है, do you
example.
think no, listen, first let me finish, sir. How is a person responsible who's, what you're saying is, okay, we should be aware. I can ask the person where is the exit, but what beyond that, what
Citizens'
can I do?
awareness is a different issue.
Yeah. Awareness is a different thing, but we are not responsible for this. We are not responsible for this. Sorry.
No, no.
I don't think the government
No,
and
no,
the
no,
authorities
no.
have to be
Mr.
answerable.
Pratap, would you like to
I'll
step
just tell
in
you
here?
because this
Fire tragedies that take
Listen,
place, instead of
I
the
will just make a
authorities,
one-point
rather look
single
at
point.
citizens' awareness or citizens' activism here in this,
No, no,
and
no.
cross-checking whether an NOC is in place, whether an NOC has not been bought
no,
with
I'm
a
not-
bribe,
you have
whether
taken
an
it wrong.
NOC has been renewed in 6 months' time, whether a ground visit has been done by the fire department in the intervening 3 years. How much do we do as citizens?
How can we do
No,
so much?
Tahar, one important point comes over here
no,
is
let me tell you,
a person
because
who is going to the cinema theater.
No, let's have Mr. Pratap complete his point. Mr. Pratap, please complete your point first.
Let's understand, if the person is going, a patron is going to a cinema hall, he is only interested in seeing the movie, simple as that, thinking that all the concerned authorities have taken care of a fire safety, especially the life safety in case. Now, there is no time, and whether the, if suppose I question certain issues, that where is my escape route, where the license has been renewed, all these things, whether the owner or occupier may give me this particular information. That's another important thing. Who has got a time? The point comes over here is that we, the regulators, I'm very clear about certain things. All the concerned regulators have to come on one platform and see that whatever requirement is to be followed and instilled into the particular. Patrons can be definitely be informed regarding what is there, what is not there, how to go, and all those things. That is happening.
Right. Is that happening? Is that happening as often?
Can I intervene?
All right. Yes, Mr. Santosh, please clarify. You wanted to clarify on this point. We largely took your view as citizens' activism. This is not a practical solution here.
Yeah,
please clarify.
I wanted what I was telling, but the point which I am trying to make, that whosoever the authorities are there for different kind of like licensing authority, fire authority, municipal corporation, local bodies and all, they have to identify the hotspots, and that hotspots have to be carried out with the citizens also, along with the support of the citizens. They have to work proactively before the disaster strikes. Then only we can reduce that risk on the individuals. The second point, especially for the fire disaster as a nature, your 10 to 15 minutes are very, very crucial. If that is lost, then things are lost. So in order to save lives, it is also important that those people and those
Mr. Balanmani,
agencies
please
involved
respond to that.
Also capacitate people
your
in
visitors,
informing that
guests
how
coming
kind
to
of
your guest
how
house,
we
which are
going
now
to
illegally turned into
actually tackle
hotels
such
and
kind
running
of
on
a
an
disaster.
NOC here,
When
will you answer, patiently
ma'am,
answer
when there was a fire
questions
today, I
to
was
curious,
there at early
responsible
morning.
citizens
Just listen to me.
on fire safety norms that have been taken into account and are operational? Yes, please answer. Mr. Balan. Or do you do that? It is legally binding on
The
you
first thing is
for
when-
everyone running a guest
when
house
there
in a
is-
hotel to inform your guests of fire safety norms on ground.
Actually, this is not mandatory. So this was not mandatory. So they're like a flight when you are go inside safety norms. So it
Sir,
is not
it is
mandatory
legal.
for
You
hotel
are-
people to do that. But
you
it
don't,
is very good
आपको
law
rules
कि
ही नहीं
what a
पता,
suggestion
sir.
will
You
go
are
with it.
legally bound.
But there is, no, according
It's
to, I'm
not a
not finished.
suggestion.
I'm
You are
not finished.
legally bound. You are unaware.
I'm not finished. And second thing, we have there is an exit point there, written there, emergency exit. There is again, we have fire, there's all these fire equipment with the this expiry date also in it. And the thing
So the exit
about what
points are
happened to the
jammed,
government,
the exit
there is the
points are
Pusa
blocked.
road
Is that
and the
fine?
worst there in the Pusa road. Yeah, no, exit point, I'm coming to that, ma'am, I'm coming to that. Actually, what happened, there's a big Pusa road, and coming from inside that, you have to go to 1.5 kilometers, and some LG has ordered them to close that. I don't know why. And when we are fighting for that for last 1 month,
So
and
forget the road. I'm talking about the structure.
Now all the works going to the hospital like Gangaram Hospital.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Balan, I don't know how you can sit and
like,
give these
what's the
excuses
structure,
here. We're
ma'am?
dealing with the
There is
death of 17 people and you have no remorse. You're so chilled out about it. You have absolutely no remorse. For you, everyone else is responsible except the people running these guest houses illegally as hotels.
When there is... Madam, there are more than 5,000.
Forget the Pusa Road. I'm talking about structures. I'm talking about the exit points, exit doors in these structures.
Everyone is to blame. There is the exit door, ma'am, but when it was...
Mr. Balan, were you even aware that there were violations here for Hotel Arpit?
Sir,
but I don't know.
Sir, may I come in?
Kahar?
Sujay, yes, please come in. Please step in, Sujay.
I would suggest that
Sir, this is the problem. Sir, this is the problem which is staring at us, that the mindset is not going to change because
it leaves us so helpless,
accountable, and they will go through a long trial of 20 years.
That each one of us are dealing with.
Hotel, I'm in a back foot because it is in my industry today. So I just want to talk because there are more than 10,000 hotels and only one hotel we have
those two restaurants
to all the hotels
in Kamla Mills, if you see those two restaurants in Kamla Mills, the exit was stacked with kerosene, with inflammable material, and therefore the patrons could not exit. They had paid 25 to 30,000 rupees per table. They expected the best of service and safety precautions which were to be taken, but that was not done. Because of the fire and the illegal tarpaulin over there, it caught immediately fire. And they had to rush into an illegal toilet which had no windows. They suffocated over there. So there was no exit route. And the exit route which was there was completely blocked. No one could have escaped. And that's how that tragedy took place. Have we not learned from those lessons? Every eatery, every restaurant, every place which is visited by the public has to be checked twice a year whether they are following the terms of the license, which is not done. There is gross dereliction of duty, and those persons who are responsible have to pay for it.
Right.
Kahar?
Mr. Santosh Kumar, are you satisfied with the way the Delhi police is going about with these investigations? We've had 2 arrests here of the GM and the manager of the property which caught fire in Delhi. Do you think officials within the fire department, within the MCD should also be scrutinized and investigated that the Delhi police has not gone into yet?
Police and investigating agency have their own kind of a process to be followed. So they will be doing their duties. The challenge, what we are suggesting at this particular stage, what kind of relations which we are drawing from here, like many of the fire disaster which has happened in the past, which is giving an average of 26,000 deaths per year in India, which is happening due to fire. And how we are going to contain these kind of numbers, because the death is just not a statistics. People are losing lives. So that drawing lessons from this, can we make our
Absolutely. And here is what's not working. There is no deterrent. I'm afraid I'll have to leave it at that. Appreciate the expert word that is coming from each of our panelists here. Unfortunate political blame game that has been witnessed here, which was avoidable. But I'm going to be ending with one point being raised by one of our panelists here. This can become a deterrent, a crime, if the police starts treating this under 302. Do not deal with this as under 308 as culpable homicide not amounting to murder. These are cases should be seen as cold-blooded murders because the respective authorities have looked away, have intentionally jeopardized lives of people. All of these incidents that we've recapped tonight that have taken place in all of our cities. It's not about old structures, it's not about congested areas, it's not about clogged wiring, which you can say is because of a crisis in old settlements. Each of these recent incidents in the past 2 years are in new constructions where the procedure is clear. The procedure is laid out, the law is clear, but violations that have become a way of life for our authorities. What are we building our big cities for if you cannot promise our safety? As a citizen, as a victim here, we don't care about who controls the MCD or who controls the BMC or the license department or the fire department. For us, as a voter, the government takes charge to ensure our safety. That's where the buck stops because that's where the vote goes. Thank you for being with us tonight.